What's up, Team Dino? Welcome back to the Tim O Show. So in today's video, we're gonna go check out two of our full line machines. It's been about a little over a week. I actually usually go on Monday mornings, but I had something else going on Monday, so I had to go Tuesday. So we're starting out the day. I'm checking my ice chest there to see what I have, make sure I didn't overbuy the Mountain Dews and the sodas. So when I arrived today, they had an out of order sign on it, and that is really disheartening, and I don't know how to feel about it. She said that a couple of guys put dollars in and it didn't work, and I wasn't sure what was going on, but I know that I had a hang up in the bangs. And unfortunately, I never got to make that video because I accidentally deleted the footage. And you guys didn't know any different, but I had the bangs and they got hung up in there, so I had to actually flip them around to where the tabs are facing the front. Because in this machine, this Royal, having the tabs facing the back, there's like a little lip on the top of the can. And what was happening was it was getting caught in between, like, I don't know how to explain it, but anyhow, that's what I had thought was going on. But it doesn't seem like that was the case. There was a whole $3 in there. Zero change, out of order sign. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I need to run through each selection to make sure that, you know, that everything's working. I can't leave until I make sure the machine's working because I can't be having that out of order sign on it. And, you know, thinking about it, there's only $3 in there. It's like I must have refilled it, and the very next day they put $3 in. So I think I have an idea of why it did this. So on this machine, basically, the best example that I could give, or what do they call it, like a comparison, would be like a gun. So the vending machine's a gun, and the bullet comes out would be the can. Well, you need one in the chamber, and I think that last time I came to refill it, I don't know if you guys remember in that video, I had some selections that were empty, several selections that were empty, and so I think that there wasn't one ready, so the machine needed to cycle through one time to get one can ready for the vend. And what happens with the first three guys put dollars in, I think those selections vended once, put one in the chamber, so then the next vend would have been okay. Because when I ran these dollar bills through the machine, every selection worked. Every selection worked. So I did a little preliminary thing here, and unfortunately I had no dollar bills, so I had to keep opening the door, getting the money back out, because all I had was 5s and 10s, and this DBA doesn't take $5 bills, unfortunately, and there was no change. So it's my first stop of the day, so man, I had to like feed in $1, and the bang was $2, so really that you get one vend on the $2. And I probably, actually the $2.50, I really probably should raise them, but I still make a pretty good profit margin on the bangs, surprisingly. So I get them pretty cheap from a local spot here. I get them at cost plus CRV, and I'm selling them for $2.50, so I'm still making about the same profit margin as I am on a can of soda. But, you know, obviously it's a higher investment to make for the same margin, which typically, you know, I guess whatever, it's making money. My main priority today is to get that out of order sign off of my machine, let these guys know that it's working. But I can't do that until I run through each selection and make sure that it's working. So I ran through each selection, seems to be working all right at this point. I'm gonna load up the Mountain Dews into the selections that are really low. The Mountain Dews, I have two selections for Mountain Dew. One of my so the selection column 1 and 2 on this particular machine are for like high moving items, so your frequent movers, and because it's twice deep. So this machine has two tiers, a front tier and a back tier, and on column 1 and 2, the front tier and the back tier are all included as that first selection. So the front tier and the back tier are all Mountain Dew in selection 1, and on the selection 2, the front tier and the back tier are Pepsi, whereas selection 3, the front tier is root beer, and the back selection is a completely different selection. Even though it's the same column, it's a different selection, and they have code red. So the cans that you see, there's actually a whole nother column behind that. So anyhow, I'm gonna load up these Pepsis. We're gonna make sure that everything's running, and we're gonna run through each machine. I actually had an issue where I was taking out all the cans and putting it on top of the machine. And the way the door closes, right? So you picture like a box, and then the door kind of overlaps on top of the box. There's like a flange, or like a, I don't know what kind of word you'd use, but it goes over the top of the box. So I had the cans on, I'm thinking it's on top of the machine, but really it's on top of the door. And I opened the door, and I had one bang, half on the door, half on the machine, and that sucker fell and made a huge mess. I'm not sure if I included it in the video, because some of these are really long clips when I'm doing it with the GoPro, and it's hard to review the entire clip before I drop it in and do the narration. This is my first take, actually. Typically when I do these narrations, I gotta do a bunch of takes. So the ground looks clean, so I'm assuming that, there we go, here we go. So so wait for it, guys. It's coming. A big old mess and a little headache. You know, not a big deal. But you see me taking I'm running through, so the Mountain Dew, Pepsi worked fine. Each VIN seems to be working. Reach down, okay, boom, we got root beer. So I'm gonna go down each selection and put them on. Look, I opened the door and I was like, oh gosh, that was scary. So the funny thing is I made the mistake, got lucky by opening the door and the can stayed on top of the door. But then I guess I stopped paying as much of attention, or like ran out of room. So I was just trying to place them on top of, you know, so there I was reaching a little further back. So I keep having to open the door to get the dollar bills, because like I said earlier, I only had a couple dollars with me. I had no dollar bills. This was my first stop of the day. I had a bucket full of quarters in the truck, because I always bring change just in case the coin mechs need to be refilled, but I've never had that happen. So, you know, the machine kind of fills the coin mech for you. So when people use, oh, there's the culprit. See that bang go on top? But when people use quarters, the quarters refill the machines, and they'll kick you, the machine will kick quarters out into the collection box once it's filled. My auto body shop, there's a lot of dimes because I keep my selections low, the pricing low. Like 85 cents for the canned sodas, and I'm gonna raise it in January, so I'm gonna leave them a note one of these times when I go, give them a little bit of a heads up. But the reason I kept it so low at my other location, not this location, I'm charging $1 here, but the other location, those guys really hung in there with me when I first got started. It was like my first solid location, and I was having nothing but problems with it. So as a measure of good faith, I decided to keep the prices low for them, to kind of win them back and, you know, earn their trust. But at this point, I need to upgrade, and I need to be able to raise the prices a little bit to make it more, oh, here we go. Oh, and that's what happens, fellas, when you're not paying attention. So yeah, that bang hit the ground just right, popped open, made a huge mess, and that's a total bummer. So I cleaned it up as best as I could. I imagine it's gonna be a little bit sticky right there, but I tried it. I poured a bottle of water, spread it all out, and cleaned it all up. You can see it's just everywhere. So I had a few more selections to go. I wanted to make sure I run through the machines, get everything saddled up. I had three fallen soldiers, if you will. You know, I lost a Dr. Pepper, a Squirt, a Code Red, and obviously a Bang. So 4 drinks. So that would be $250 plus $3 more, $550. So that's $550 in revenue that I wasted just on a silly mistake, you know, putting those on top there and opening the door and just one hitting the ground, slamming, and the others got dented. So the others didn't burst open, just the energy drink bursted open, but they were all dented up and dirty and sticky, and I didn't want to put those back in the machine because I feel like if you throw a sticky soda in there, it could cause jams in the future, and I don't really want to deal with jams. And I had a jam last week, like I said, on the footage that I lost, but look at that. Oh my goodness. So anyways, I went to the truck, I got some cleaning supplies and some water bottles, and cleaned it up the best as I could with what I had. These guys got some rims stocked in front. They're working on a truck, which is cool. These guys are pretty nice to me now. They treat me well. They really like the Bangs. So it's funny, I had the Bangs in there. They asked me not to have the Bangs because they were drinking them too much. So I removed the Bangs. They wanted some cheap energy drinks. I put cheap energy drinks in. Now they don't want the cheap energy drinks. So these guys are kind of all over the place. And there's like 2 different shops. There's a paint side, and I think those guys are the ones that are really taking care of me the most. And then there's also like I guess I don't know, like the repair side. So the repair side and then a paint side. So there's 2 different kind of shops at the one place, but everybody seems to use the machine, and I'm really glad they bared with me. And but I'm gonna need to put a note to let them know I gotta raise the prices up about 10 cents because this is my furthest location from home, and it does okay. You know, it's not my best location, but it does good. These guys treat me well, and we have a good line of communication too. So anytime, you know, when the machine wasn't running, you know, I was trying to give out a couple free drinks here and things like that. I replaced my M&Ms last week and moved the location. So last week I had my M&Ms were all heat damaged. So I had to replace the M&Ms. I opened it up to make it so where they're getting more per vend. So I'm thinking they're getting 8 to 9 per vend now, whereas before they were only getting 4 or 5, which is weird because I feel like I tested it and 7 were coming out. But anyhow, it seems like they're happy with the new M&Ms and the new settings because we pulled out a couple good handfuls of quarters out of these machines, and My bulk machines haven't been that successful for me, but I gotta be honest, I haven't really put a whole lot of energy into them. I think some of my machines, I need to get the 1 inch wheels inside of them so I can fill them up with gumballs. My daughter has one all finally set up and ready to go, so we'll be releasing a new video pretty soon about her candy machine business that she's starting up. So just checking everything, make sure everything's working, get a handful of M&Ms, pop those suckers in, then we're gonna pop some sodas into the machine. So these guys, you know, the Pepsi's a pretty average mover. I typically don't have to add any Pepsi's except for every 2 weeks. So every other week I come is typically, oh, stupid Facebook. I thought I turned my notifications off. Sorry about that, guys. Pepsi's I typically can get away with not refilling for 2 weeks, and the Mountain Dews are a little faster than that. I moved the Cokes from the moving location, the first location we were at, over here, and I gotta be honest, I think these guys are using them up. I think they're liking the Cokes over here, which is great because I had like 36 of them and nobody touched them. So I think what I did was I pulled out a few and put them in here. The Fantas are pretty average seller. They do okay. And that's another, you know, about 12 pack every, so I was refilling it with 2 12 packs every week, but then I just quickly realized I could probably do 1 12 pack per week. And then I could even skip a week and it would be totally okay. Root beers are, you know, average. Those Rock Stars there, now it's so weird because sometimes the Rock Stars, they move and they sell super quick and sometimes they don't. So I don't know. So he actually asked me to remove the Rock Stars. So I'm thinking about, we're kind of reverting back to where we were and just putting more flavored bangs in there, which I didn't really want to do. I was trying to get away from it, but they're asking for it, so I'd like to keep them happy. Like I said, they've been great customers to me, and they treat me really good over there. So always, guys, clean your machine. I know I don't always include this part in the video because it's something that once I'm done filming, I put all my vending stuff away and I always come back and clean it up, wipe everything down. And I don't always include the footage because I try to keep the videos fairly short and interesting. So I did include the cleaning footage, and it's about 3 minutes longer than normal. So, but I just want to make sure you guys know, you guys that are running a vending machine business or getting into thinking about running a vending machine business, I noticed that a lot of vending machines, when I'm out in public, they're always dusty. So I just try to wipe my machine, I wipe it down, and this is my dustiest, dirtiest spot. But just keep it clean, you know. I mean, it's a nice piece of equipment, you know, it's making you money, and it's like, you know, one of your employees. So I like to use Method because it's an organic, you know, it doesn't have a lot of chemicals in it. So I like to use that. Same thing with the gumball machines. Keep them clean and shiny because that way they look good. You know, they look good. I got so many Facebook things coming in, of course, and I didn't turn the notifications off. So I was actually really happy about how the candy machine performed and the auto body shop performed really well. Unfortunately, our first location that didn't do very well. That's kind of a bummer. But I appreciate you guys sticking around for the video. Make sure you get to the end, and I'm going to do a little collection and we'll see how much we did make. If any of you guys are interested in starting a vending machine business, scroll down in the description below because I have a bunch of channels linked. Great channels, awesome people with all different types of vending content. There's a lot of links to full line, honor boxes, charity boxes, and, you know, bulk line. So make sure to scroll down in the description below and stick around to the end of the video so you can figure out how much we made today. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.